Toastmaster. Thank you, distinguished Toastmasters. Welcome to a wonderful morning. I am going to share a very important, impactful message. It's fairly simple, but it is overlooked and affects our world in so many ways. There's good and bad in everything. Labels is just like anything. Labels can be very defining and help us present ourselves. The labels can also be like a barbed wire fence. Let me explain in a quick story. My first wife, the mother of my son, is from Hawaii, and she is of the Asian Pacific label. And when my son and I were sitting at the BMV waiting to get his first driver's license, we we talked about all of the testing and all the things and normal things about life. Walked up to the counter, and we were standing next to each other. My son is a little bit taller than me, so I kind of leaned on the counter next to him and went through all the questions that the lady had for him, the government lady, who had a government form. This government form, I think, and if you think about it, is one of the main culprits in institutionalized racism. We got to the question where she's asking my son, Rand, what is your ethnicity? I raised my son that there's really no labels. We don't label ourselves in any race. I think that we're more of a melting pot than we give ourselves credit for. Well, my son looked at me with a curious look and said, ethnicity? And I said, son, she's asking you, what race are you? Well, he was confused and looked at me and then looked at her, and there was quite a long pause. And the lady was sitting there with her pen ready to check the box. And he says, well, and I was enjoying the moment. I was just quiet. I wanted to see how this would unfold. And he says, well, Asian Pacific. And then me and my kind of comedic nature, I punched him and I said, he goes, oh, and white. And I started laughing. I said, no, wait a minute. I said, do you have to check a box? I mean, he's not any specific race. And this really confused the lady who was running the test there on her little form. And I said, ma'am, don't you have an other box? And she says, well, yeah. I said, Rand, what do you want her to check? He says, check the other box. So labels can be difficult and you'll have an emotional reaction. Allow me to illustrate. I identify as a homo. I think that every one of you also is a homo. And how that happened was in our evolution, there was Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Homo neanderthalis, Homo neanderthalensis, and finally the modern man of Homo sapien. So I am proudly a homo, but note the reaction that you have a little bit when I use that term, because that phrase has been co-opted in a way that is can be counterproductive. Nationalities are labeled, skin colors are labeled. We all have so many labels. What I propose in my message today is everybody is an individual. Everybody is an individual. And if we can grasp that and hold that and get out of our labels and groups and all of our, it will have diversity, but it's diversity of individuals. So my message, simple but important, is do not be subjugated by labels being put on you. Check the other box. Thank you.